Attraction is often treated as instinctual or mysterious, but in reality, it is learned through experience. While people may believe their preferences come from instinct or aesthetics alone, attraction develops over time as the mind and nervous system respond to patterns of safety, understanding, and reinforcement. What feels natural is usually familiar, and what feels familiar is shaped by lived interaction, not stereotypes. Stereotypes simplify people into categories, but attraction does the opposite. It responds to nuance. It forms when interactions consistently meet emotional needs. When someone feels heard rather than dismissed, respected rather than tolerated, and safe rather than evaluated, the body records that experience. Over time, attraction begins to lean toward environments where those feelings are likely to occur again. This is not conscious bias, it is psychological learning. Emotional safety is one of the strongest drivers of attraction. Humans are wired to seek connection where the nervous system can relax. In relationships where communication feels predictable, boundaries are respected, and emotions are not punished, the body associates presence with relief rather than vigilance. That relief becomes attraction. It is not about fantasy, it is about regulation. People are drawn to what calms them, not what overwhelms them, especially as they gain emotional maturity. Shared values further reinforce this attraction. Values determine how people treat one another when things are uncomfortable. They show up in conflict resolution, accountability, honesty, and care. When someone consistently behaves in ways that align with another person's values, attraction deepens because trust grows. Trust is not romanticized often enough, but it is one of the most enduring forms of attraction. Without it, desire becomes unstable and short-lived. Experience also teaches discernment. Early in life, attraction may be influenced by novelty, excitement, or external validation. Over time, experiences, both positive and negative, refine preference. People learn what drains them and what sustains them. They learn which dynamics create anxiety and which create balance. This learning process reshapes attraction, moving it away from surface appeal and toward compatibility. What once felt exciting may later feel exhausting. What once seemed unremarkable may later feel grounding. This is why stereotypes fail as explanations for attraction. Stereotypes assign traits to groups without regard for individuality or behavior, but attraction responds to behavior, not assumptions. It forms through observation, how someone listens, how they respond under stress, how they show care without being asked. These experiences are specific and relational. They cannot be predicted by myths or generalizations. When people explain attraction through stereotypes, they often overlook their own history. They ignore the moments where they felt most valued, most understood, or most secure. Yet those moments are precisely where attraction is formed. The mind remembers consistency. The body remembers tone, timing, and respect. Over time, these memories shape preference more powerfully than cultural narratives ever could. Understanding attraction as experience-based is liberating. It removes guilt and defensiveness around preference. Instead of apologizing for what one is drawn to, individuals can examine it with curiosity. What experiences made this feel right? What values were honored? What emotional needs were met? This reflection transforms attraction from something reactive into something informative. It also prevents overgeneralization. Recognizing that attraction is shaped by experience allows people to honor preference without turning it into judgment. One can acknowledge where they feel most aligned without claiming universality or superiority. Preference becomes personal data, not a hierarchy of worth. This distinction is crucial for emotional intelligence and respectful connection. From an educational standpoint, this understanding encourages healthier relationship choices. When people choose based on how they are treated rather than how something appears, they reduce the likelihood of repeating harmful patterns. They stop chasing validation and start choosing alignment. Attraction becomes a guide rather than a trap. Ultimately, attraction shaped by experience is grounded, adaptive, and self-respecting. It evolves as people evolve. It reflects healing, learning, and self-awareness. When individuals trust their lived experiences more than stereotypes, they move closer to relationships that feel safe, mutual, and sustaining. And that is where attraction becomes not just desire, but discernment. Cultural context quietly shapes how people experience being seen, heard, and understood. It influences language, humor, emotional expression, boundaries, and expectations long before anyone becomes consciously aware of it. Because culture operates in the background, its impact on connection is often underestimated. Yet many feelings of comfort or discomfort in relationships are not about personality differences alone. They are about whether two people share enough cultural fluency to recognize and respect each other's signals. Feeling seen is not only about attention, it is about accurate interpretation. When someone understands the meaning behind your tone, pauses, expressions, and priorities, interaction feels effortless. You do not have to translate yourself or defend your intentions. Cultural context provides a shared reference point that makes this understanding possible. Without it, people may still care deeply, but misunderstandings arise more frequently, and emotional labor increases. Communication styles are one of the clearest examples of this influence. Some cultures value directness, others emphasize nuance. Some prioritize emotional expressiveness, others restraint. None of these approaches are superior, but they are different. When two people share similar communication norms, they are less likely to misread each other's intentions. A quiet response is not mistaken for disinterest, and assertiveness is not misinterpreted as aggression. This alignment reduces friction and fosters mutual respect. Mutual awareness also plays a critical role. Cultural awareness allows individuals to recognize how history, social positioning, and lived realities shape behavior. When someone understands the broader context that informs another person's experiences, empathy deepens. They listen more carefully and respond more thoughtfully. This awareness prevents oversimplification and supports dignity. Feeling seen often means feeling that one's experiences are understood within their proper context, not isolated or minimized. Cultural fluency also affects emotional safety. People feel safer when they do not have to constantly explain themselves or correct assumptions. Repeatedly educating others about one's background or reactions can be exhausting and distancing. In relationships where cultural cues are familiar, emotional energy can be directed toward connection rather than clarification. This ease is often mistaken for chemistry, but it is more accurately understood as resonance. Importantly, cultural context does not require identical backgrounds. It requires willingness to learn, respect, and adapt. Feeling seen can emerge when someone demonstrates genuine curiosity and humility. When individuals ask thoughtful questions, listen without defensiveness, and adjust their behavior accordingly, they create space for understanding. This effort communicates respect. It signals that the other person's perspective matters enough to be learned. When cultural context is ignored, people may feel invisible even in close relationships. Their reactions may be judged rather than understood. Their boundaries may be questioned. Over time, this invisibility erodes trust and belonging. Individuals may begin to silence parts of themselves to maintain harmony. While this adaptation can preserve connection temporarily, it often leads to emotional distance and resentment. Educationally, recognizing the role of cultural context encourages more compassionate interactions. It shifts the focus from blame to understanding. Instead of asking why someone reacts differently, it invites inquiry into what experiences shaped that response. This approach reduces conflict and promotes collaboration. It also supports personal growth by expanding one's capacity to relate across difference. Cultural context also intersects with power and representation. When dominant cultural norms are treated as universal, those outside them may feel marginalized. Feeling seen requires acknowledgement of these dynamics. Respect grows when individuals recognize that their way of communicating is not neutral or default. This recognition fosters equity and deeper connection. Ultimately, feeling understood and respected is not accidental. It is the result of attentiveness, awareness, and shared or learned context. Relationships thrive when people are willing to meet each other where they are, informed by culture rather than constrained by it. When cultural fluency is present, connection feels natural. People relax into themselves. They speak freely, listen deeply, and experience the rare comfort of being truly seen. Lasting attraction is often mistaken for intensity, chemistry, or excitement, but these qualities alone rarely sustain connection over time. What keeps attraction alive is not how strongly something begins, but how reliably it continues. Safety, respect, and presence form the foundation of sustainable attraction because they meet core psychological needs that allow desire to grow rather than erode. Safety is the nervous system's permission to relax. In relationships, emotional safety means knowing that vulnerability will not be punished, dismissed, or used as leverage. When someone responds predictably, with care rather than volatility, the body associates their presence with calm rather than threat. This sense of safety allows attraction to deepen beyond initial excitement. Without it, attraction becomes unstable, fueled by anxiety or uncertainty rather than genuine connection. Emotional consistency is a key component of safety. It involves alignment between words and actions over time. When behavior is steady, trust develops naturally. People do not have to guess where they stand or brace for sudden shifts. This reliability is deeply attractive because it signals integrity. Consistency does not mean perfection, it means accountability. When mistakes happen, they are acknowledged and repaired rather than denied or repeated. Respect is another essential driver of lasting attraction. It is expressed through listening, honoring boundaries, and valuing autonomy. Respect allows individuals to be themselves without fear of diminishment. In respectful relationships, differences are not used as weapons, and power is not exerted through control or manipulation. This creates an environment where attraction can mature, supported by mutual dignity. Presence ties safety and respect together. Being present means offering attention that is focused and responsive. It involves listening without distraction, engaging without defensiveness, and showing up emotionally, even when it is inconvenient. Presence communicates value. It tells the other person that they matter in real time, not just in theory. This attentiveness fosters intimacy and strengthens attraction because it meets the human need to be acknowledged. Accountability reinforces all three elements. It demonstrates that care is not conditional on comfort. When someone takes responsibility for their impact, it builds trust and deepens respect. Accountability transforms conflict from a threat into an opportunity for growth. In such environments, attraction is not derailed by disagreement, it is stabilized by repair. Assumed care, on the other hand, undermines attraction. When individuals believe their intentions are sufficient without consistent behavior, they create gaps between expectation and experience. These gaps breed doubt and disengagement. Sustainable attraction requires care to be demonstrated repeatedly, not declared once. It is built through everyday actions that confirm commitment and respect. From an educational perspective, understanding these dynamics helps individuals make healthier relational choices. It shifts focus from chasing excitement to cultivating stability. It encourages people to evaluate how they feel in someone's presence over time, rather than how impressed they are initially. This awareness reduces the likelihood of confusing anxiety with attraction. Ultimately, safety, respect, and presence create an environment where attraction can endure. They allow desire to be grounded in trust and mutual care. When these elements are practiced consistently, attraction becomes less about urgency and more about depth. It evolves into something resilient, capable of adapting, growing, and sustaining connection through change. Personal preference is often misunderstood as a judgment or hierarchy, but it is neither. It is a form of self-knowledge, a recognition of what aligns with one's values, needs, and emotional well-being. When someone identifies a type, They are not declaring superiority or dismissing others. They are describing what resonates with them in practice. This distinction is subtle but critical. Understanding it reframes attraction as information rather than evaluation. Preferences develop over time through experience. People notice patterns in how they feel around different individuals, who energizes them, who challenges them constructively, who feels emotionally safe. These patterns are unique to each person. They are shaped by past interactions, cultural context, emotional needs, and personal growth. As a result, one person's preference will naturally differ from another's. Recognizing this individuality prevents projection and allows for a more compassionate understanding of both oneself and others. Naming a type also reflects alignment, rather than hierarchy. Alignment occurs when values, communication styles, emotional rhythms, and life priorities resonate. It is about fit, not superiority. For example, someone may be drawn to partners who share a similar approach to responsibility, humor, or emotional availability. This is not a critique of those who do not share these traits. It is simply a statement about what creates harmony and mutual understanding in that specific context. Attraction, in this sense, becomes a tool for discernment rather than judgment. Personal preference is also informed by self-awareness. People who understand their own boundaries, desires, and emotional patterns are better equipped to identify the qualities that support their growth and stability. Recognizing what works for oneself allows for intentional choice rather than random attraction or societal influence. It creates a framework for relationships that are sustainable and nurturing. It is essential to distinguish preference from exclusionary thinking. Preference is personal and reflective, while exclusion is prescriptive and generalized. Saying, "I am drawn to this type," is descriptive of individual experience. Saying everyone should prefer this type imposes values on others and misrepresents the nature of attraction. Maintaining this distinction is key to fostering empathy, mutual respect, and ethical relationship choices. Education in personal preference also involves examining why certain traits are attractive. This reflection can reveal unconscious biases, learned behaviors, or unresolved patterns. Awareness allows individuals to refine preferences thoughtfully, ensuring that attraction is grounded in genuine alignment rather than projection, insecurity, or cultural conditioning. It encourages curiosity rather than judgment. Understanding preference as alignment also improves communication in relationships. When individuals can articulate why they are drawn to certain qualities, they reduce ambiguity and increase clarity. They express what makes them feel valued, safe, and understood. This transparency supports mutual respect and prevents misinterpretation or resentment. Ultimately, personal preference is a map, not a measure. It guides individuals toward experiences and connections that resonate with their authentic self. It is not a declaration about the value of others, but a reflection of one's unique journey, emotional needs, and relational priorities. When recognized in this way, preference becomes a tool for self-understanding, intentional choice, and respectful connection, rather than a source of judgment or division. By embracing personal preference as an act of self-knowledge rather than hierarchy, individuals can cultivate relationships that honor both their own needs and the dignity of others. It fosters clarity, authenticity, and mutual respect, creating a foundation for attraction that is thoughtful, aligned, and sustainable.